Good morning, and this is Janice with another snippet of sunshine. Today, I feel like I want to do a conversation about being still in the Lord. And the reason for this is that because it's not always an easy task for anybody. And even those who like to be silent and like to be quiet and like to just take time in the Lord's presence, sometimes it can be hard to be still when you have so many things racing through your mind and so many distractions that you have in your life. Maybe you're a mom, maybe you're just going through the motions and you're trying to make sure your kids get everything they need. They get their lunches, they get their schoolwork done, they get after school activities. I mean, I bet it's very overwhelming, and sometimes it's hard for us to stay still in His presence. So I would like to talk about that a little bit. How do you spend time in God's presence? I know one of the biggest things that stands out to me in the aspect of being still is a word that I actually didn't know the meaning to until a few years ago. And that is in Psalms. They have, sometimes it's called interlude, and sometimes it's called Selah. And what I love about that word Selah is that, first of all, it's really fun to say. And second of all, it kind of makes you want to know what it's about, right? So what makes me love that word is that it makes me say, hey, I think I need to be still. I need some Selah in my life. It means to pause. It means to reflect. It means to take the time and think about it before moving on. And I love that word because sometimes it's hard to just Selah. Like Selah vie? What does that mean? I'm getting off track here. But some of the ways that I like to be still in His presence is I like to either take a walk. I like to just sit silently. Sometimes I turn on worship music just to listen to it, not to sing about it. But once I feel that I have to sing, you gotta sing, right? Some of the other ways is I like to read. I study scripture. And one of the best things that I've learned recently is that if you're trying to research something, if you're trying to do something, you need to research it. You need to dedicate your whole self to it, because otherwise you're not going to get what God is trying to tell you. If you are dealing with something, a big struggle in your life, and you're not going to research it on what the scripture tells us about it, then you're not going to do as well as you would if you trust God with it. And God might know of what you're struggling with, because of course He knows everything. But if you don't give it to Him, and if you don't try to study and know what you're up against and how to combat it, then you're going to struggle a lot more. And that's one of the things that I'm learning myself. So another thing that I like to do is I like to pray out loud, because I like to speak life to my prayers. However, I sometimes also get very scared to do that because I don't want the devil to know all my secrets, but he kind of already knows them, right? So another thing that I do is sometimes I pray silently. If I'm really in a difficult place and I feel that God, He knows my heart, and He knows that I don't want the devil to have a foothold over me. Sometimes I'll pray silently in His presence because He knows already. But if I ever want to actually get over those hurdles, I do have to speak them out loud in order for God to use and help me get over them. So I would love to know your responses and your feedback. How do you stay still in God's presence? And Do you hear from him? And if you do hear from him, what does he tell you? Well, I'm going to close now, but many blessings and much gratitude to you. Love you.